Alrighty, so about the dirt bike, figured I'd do an update. Now I'm about 8,000 miles in, and I just changed the oil, and I went to synthetic. Let me grab that so you can see what I used. I went with 10W30 HP4S. And I debated. A lot of people were like, you can go ahead and do it at like 6,000 miles. But I went with what was overall suggested and wait till 7,000 or 8,000 miles and do it to it. And that's been it. You know, honestly, as far as repair videos and upkeep, this old Honda is, or this new Honda is probably not the right bike to worry about this with, because I don't worry about anything with this bike. Like, I had the Rad Power electric bike. I've had a couple electric bikes, and even those, I would wonder if it was going to give me issues when I go to take off, or even in the middle of the trip. And this bike here, man, I mean, yeah, it's a Honda, but it's not let me down. She's just so sexy. Like, look at her. Just everything just like perfect. Nothing involved that doesn't need to be there. Everything is essential to the bike. And this stuff just runs. Like, I changed the oil at, I think, 3,000. And when I went to do this oil change, is the first time I actually checked my oil in my window, and I was super low, like at the very bottom. But this thing didn't change a bit. It's just so dependable. So yeah, that's where we're at. I went to synthetic, and now I can let you know if I notice any difference. I'm also changing my air filter. By that, I mean I just spray out the old one with carburetor cleaner. Make sure I get all the sand. And I reuse these like 3 times. Like every 2,000 miles, 2,500, take that sucker out, spray it out, let it run out that way, you know, spray it from here. So your sand will make its way out of those little pockets. But yeah, I mean, I know they're only like $16, but still, like, spending very little upkeep for this bike. And the other biggest thing I've noticed, if you've seen any of my other videos, is I recently had a 130/90 18. This is 120/90. And 130 was making a weird chatter on the chain side. And it was never a serious issue. Like, it was just a noise that started when you were at low RPMs, kind of like at the bottom of your gear, and you were lugging. But with that bigger wheel, it was lugging harder than it actually had to. So when I ordered this tire, I just tried it. I went with one size smaller. I went with 120/90, 120 millimeters that way, and then 90% of 120 millimeters that way, rather than 130. And that obviously made a huge difference, because when I put this on, that chain shutter noise is gone. It doesn't make it anymore. No more chatter. The chain looseness is exactly where it should be. Excuse me. And the funny thing is, like, I took off a 130 90 18, put on a 120 90 18, and I didn't have to adjust this setting here. I kept it where it was at, and I tested my chain drop, and it was perfect. And then I rode it, and I had no noises, nothing going on. So for other people, 130 90 might be too much. I think if you could find a 130 80 18, that it might be workable, but I have pretty dang decent traction with just a 120. Because my initial thought was, like, let's go bigger. My original tire was a 110 80 18. So considerably smaller. But you don't have to go as big as you can. Now on the front tire, I've not really had any other issues other than the only thing I can say about this. This is the Tractionator Desert HT. It's the match to the rear. And normally I went with the Pirelli MT21. And I had no issues. And I was like, you know, I don't like having motos on the back and Pirelli on the front, because I'm weird. And I went with the same tire this time. And I don't think I like this tire. I like it still grips, but essentially it's just as good as the Pirelli MT21 in the sand and dirt. But on the pavement is where this thing shows its true colors. I never had any vibration or anything at any speeds with the Pirelli, but since I put this one on, when I start to slow down, or if I'm up to speeds at like 45 to 55, I have a little vibration in the front. And that becomes more drastic when I put on my brakes, either my front or my rear. It's just when I send the load to this front tire, it picks up more on wherever the imbalance is. And I've had two Pirelli MT21s that I didn't have that issue, but as soon as I put this one on, I started having to worry about the tire balancing. But I'm not worried about throwing a weight on it. It's not that much, but it's noticeable. So next time, I'm going back to the Pirelli MT21, and I'll probably keep this 120 90 18. This is the Enduro IT, because it's not wearing down like the other one, and I think the size of it is the biggest key. So that's where we're at. I'm at my 8,000 mile service. Changed to synthetic oil, spray out the air filter, put it back in, and she's gonna be good for another 6,000 to 8,000 miles. So there you go.